Hello and welcome back to another video by yours truly. In today's video, we're going to be comparing the chronograph with the diving bezel and figure out which one of the two reigns supreme as a tool to time the random things in your life. What prompted me to make this video is that I saw in a couple of YouTube videos from other YouTubers saying how the chronograph is a useless complication and it just looks cool and is fun to have, but essentially it's useless. And I'm just like, what are you talking about, bruh? And this is why I had to make this video to show you guys how amazing the chronograph is compared to the diving bezel. Both of them are cool. I definitely own many chronographs and many diving bezels, but I feel like the diving bezel is just very easy to understand, right? You just spin the thing and then you align it with the minute hand or the hour hand. I mean, did you know that you can also count hours with the diving bezel? You could align it with the hour hand and count the amount of hours. But obviously you cannot use these graduations, but you can still count the amount of hours with the diving bezel. This is very easy to explain, it's ratcheted so you cannot go back. It was designed for people diving under the sea, but most people just use it as a fidget spinner or to time random things, like for example, cooking an egg or something like that, taking a walk with your kids, how long is the walk, or how long you wait for a restaurant, for example. This is what most people use the diving bezel for. It does not require a lot of explanation. And I feel like the reason why people are saying that chronographs are useless or not that useful is that not a lot of people know how to use a chronograph. All right, so here is how we operate the chronograph. Very easy. You can start it, right? Start the chronograph. It's going to start counting the amount of seconds. And at each turn of the second chronograph hand, this minute hand right here is going to turn, right? So after 1 minute, this minute hand is going to take one notch to show you that it has been 1 minute. Some chronographs even have an hour counter, but this one only has a 24-hour counter. It doesn't have an hour counter on this one. After 1 hour, the chronograph will reset back to its initial state. So why is the chronograph so awesome? Let me show you guys how the chronograph is so much more convenient than the diving bezel. Scenario number one, you want to time something, but you do not want everybody around you to know that you're timing something. So what do? The chronograph, it's a lot more discreet. Let's say someone comes over and talks to you and wastes your time and you want to know how many minutes and seconds is this person gonna steal from your life? How many minutes and seconds you will never get back from this conversation? But you do not want to seem rude to the person. So this is what you do, right? So let's say the person comes over and he's like talking to you and you're like, oh, cool. And you just casually grab your wrist and press the chronograph start button. And that's it. That's all you got to do to activate the chronograph. All right. But let's say if you wanted to time that event with a diving bezel, okay? You want to time something discreetly. Let's say you're in a movie theater, you have to be quiet. You're in a library, you have to be quiet, okay? But you really want to time something with a diving bezel, okay? It's not exactly discreet. This one is not that loud, but some diving bezels are pretty loud. I'm gonna show you guys a diving bezel that's pretty loud. Hold on. All right, so this meeeee right here is probably my loudest diving bezel. Listen to this. Just imagine if you have a bunch of people around you and it's full quiet, but you want to time something, you do this. All right, it's gonna attract some attention on you. You want to time something without attracting any attention, the chronograph is your friend. Situation number two, it is freezing cold. You're in a cold country like Canada. You're wearing gloves or mittens, but you really need to time something urgently. But you're wearing gloves, and if you remove your gloves, you're gonna be, frostbitten and you're gonna lose your fingers. What you do? So if you have a chronograph, all you gotta do is press the button and it will start the timer. Start, stop, and reset. Super easy with gloves. But if you're outside wearing gloves, trying to rotate this bezel, right? Right now, these are grippy gloves. You see the grippy things here? Okay, so like I was wearing like non-grippy gloves. So let's say if I was trying to, with the other side of the glove, trying to like spin this, it will not spin. Well, I mean, it will spin, but it will just be very difficult to spin. So if you're wearing gloves or mittens, not a good time with a timing or diving bezel. Situation number 3. You're in a situation where the tachymeter bezel is actually gonna be useful. Let's say if you were measuring speed, for example. For God knows what reason you want to measure speed. All right, so let's say you're standing at 1 kilometer away from a car. You will press this as the car leaves, and when the car reaches you, let's say it takes, 7 and something seconds to reach you, then the car will be going at an astounding 500 kilometers an hour. How does this magic work? So this is how it works, right? Think about it. I've seen many YouTube videos on how to use a tachymeter bezel, but I'm going to try to explain to you the most easiest way possible. The whole point of a tachymeter bezel is to measure how many times an event that occurs in less than 1 minute is going to occur in 1 hour. The easiest example, let's say something takes 1 full minute to finish. There are 60 minutes in an hour, so it takes a full minute to complete. There's 60 minutes in an hour. Let's say it takes a full 60 seconds or a minute for the car to get from 0 kilometer to 1 kilometer. Then the car is going 60 kilometers per hour. But if it takes a little bit over 7 seconds for the car to go from 0 to 1 kilometer, then the car is going 500 kilometers per hour. That's a pretty fast car. And it doesn't have to be just speed. Let's say you're doing something, I don't know what, and you're finishing in, let's say, 20 seconds, right? I'll let you use your imagination and what you're doing and you're finishing in 20 seconds. So if you're finishing in 20 seconds, that means you have 180 20 seconds in 1 hour. In fact, the math is very easy. How many seconds are there in 1 hour? There are 3,600 seconds, right? So if you are, let's say, doing something in 10 seconds right here, so there is approximately 400 times 10 equals 3,600. If I am confusing you further with the math, just know that whatever event that you're measuring, right? Let's say if the second hand stops right here at 140, then it means that that event will occur 140 times in an hour. It could be useful in certain situations. I'm not saying it's completely useless, but once you know how to use the scale, you can measure a lot more things. Things that are not possible to measure with just a timing or diving bezel. But there's one aspect where the diving bezel is much more superior than the chronograph, and that is in its fidgetability. It's so much more fun to fidget with. When you have nothing to do, you can just fidget with it all day. It is so much fun, and you can annoy everybody around you. So this is why the diving bezel is superior to the chronograph. I'm sorry, guys. End of the video. Thank you very much for watching this video. And if you enjoy this type of content, do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Until next time, goodbye. Here's how you use the tachymeter bezel, right? The tachymeter bezel was initially, I can't say this word.